10:03, so we're a little bit late, but we'll make a start, please. I declare the council meetings CL 23/4 open and welcome everyone here present. We've got some guests in the room today, and also please note that we're being live streamed. I'm not aware of any. Oh no, there's an apology for Anne Henry for lateness. Can I ask for a mover? Councillor Soul, Councillor Murray Benge, all those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. I'm not aware of any late items. Does anyone have a declaration of interest? No. Okay, thank you. There are no public excluded items. So we'll move on to public forum, where I have Mrs. George and Ben Muir to speak. If you would be so kind, gentlemen. And Alexander Muir as well. Please do. If you press the right hand button, it'll go red, and that means you're live. There we are. You're good.
Is that good? Kia ora koutou. As you all probably know, I'm George Muir from Number 4 Road. This is my brother Ben, my father Alec, and we've been on Number 4 Road since 1907. Our ancestors came on the first migrant ship to this country in 1842 on the 9th of October, and that's who we are. What we're really here for today, the main thing that we're concerned about is that it appears there's been a wall of silence from either the Mayor or the CEO. We don't really care who it's from. We haven't had any messaging or communication come back from the Mayor, and that is concerning to me. We are primarily concerned about getting a Bailey Bridge installed on Number 4 Road so we have access for emergency services, our safe access for families and our workers. One of our main concerns around that is how is the Bailey Bridge going to be installed, because we've had mixed messages and we want to get that finalised and get the old bridge out, get the new piles in for the crane or whatever the hell has to happen and move on. I'm going to pass over to my brother Ben.
Yeah, hi all. I just wanted to touch on some stuff. I have sent some emails into the emergency email with the council. Probably my concerns that I want to talk about are sort of more around emergency services. We don't know as residents what emergency services can actually get onto our road at the moment. I was speaking with one of the guys from the fire department the other day, and his words were, if you have a fire, put it out yourself. And basically, if you're going to have a heart attack, probably good luck, because I don't think the ambulances can get through. I'm not sure if they're allowed to or not, and perhaps if they did, they'll get lost. So yeah, it's probably more around emergency services and health and safety issues. I've put in emails that we, and I believe that it was probably discussed at the meeting that was held at Manueka Road, was traffic management. So we've got approximately, it might be nearly 2 kilometres of road, which is pretty sketchy, all single lane, and there's no traffic management on it, and it's sort of potential for accidents, etc. So I'd really like to see if we could get some decent traffic management put in place, whether it's timed travel in either direction. And the other thing, we really want some answers on how we're looking for emergencies to deal with. As an example, 2 years ago, my wife had a heart failure. I performed CPR on her for half an hour, and we were able to have 3 ambulances, the fire department, and we were lucky enough to have a rescue helicopter that was from Taupo and had just refueled in Rotorua, which managed to come through, and yeah, we kept it going and saved her life. That won't happen if we have issues currently. Currently, I think that our pretty much our only our help would be the fire brigade said they can get their Hilux through to come and help with medical events. You know, that's if that roadway holds up that we're currently using. And rescue helicopters, as we're all aware, are only available if they're available. So if they're on another job, we won't have them. So we're concerns around health and safety for people on roads, workers coming and going, residents coming and going. That's probably the biggest issues. We've also, we've lots of kiwi fruit on the road. We're farming as well, so we've got issues to consider. Like we've got livestock that this autumn we've got a lot of stock that needs to get trucked out. So we're kind of a bit anxious as to getting a bridge in and getting some connectivity back with getting our businesses reconnected. Really is what it's about. So probably key points. The other thing which we're pretty disappointed with is that we've got a cell tower on number 4 road, which was fed fibre optically, was routed under the bridge that's been washed out. And there's been no effort whatsoever from Chorus or Spark or whoever to get that cell site up and running. There's much of number 4 road and also neighbouring roads, number 1, 2 and 3 road. There's lots of issues with people who rely on living on a cell phone network and also internet, and they're without all of that stuff. So it's quite concerning. We don't believe that we're sort of can-do people. We're farmers and we make stuff happen, but it would have been pretty easy to get that fibre optic up and running, and maybe someone here can take that upon themselves to somehow get that pushed along. So there's a fair bit of stuff. It's not just a bridge that's gone. We're missing quite a bit of other important things. And concerns, I guess, around what we're currently using for the this private road access that's there at the moment. If that gets taken out, we're going to be stuck for a long time. It's a pretty sketchy road that's already had many washouts and slips over the years, and it's probably really not a very safe road to be putting the public on. So I guess ultimately the best thing for us is to get a bridge in place ASAP. I think that's probably really about it, but things like whether we can get an emergency medical station put on the road, because if we do, we've got a hell of a storm forecast for this coming weekend, which potentially could have us isolated, and whether there could be something looked into. I don't know who would look after that, but whether we have a medical post on the road. I know that we've currently got 2 defibrillators on our property, but nobody else knows that. And the other issue, I guess, would be that comes back to the residents of the road have really been left in the dark pretty much with all of the stuff. So, and with no civil emergency being declared, there's been no personal contact with residents. The only information we've had is from some emails that have come through to people that would have an email address or have got connectivity to actually receive emails. And if we had an emergency declared, no doubt we would have had civil defence on the road that probably would have visited residents, got a good idea of who's on the road, who's got what wrong with them or not wrong with them, and just get a better feeling in there of people actually understanding what we do have available. It's about it, I think.
You could mention you spent a couple of days clearing the road.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. We do a lot of our own. We do a lot of the road work on number 4. We've had multiple slips and block culverts up the top of number 4, and I've spent 2 days cleaning all of them up, so that we don't lose the road completely in the next weather event. So yeah, I see that we've had downers up the road a few times looking, but that doesn't get fixing done, and of course is limited with we can't get heavy traffic in to come in and deal with it. So that's probably the concerns.
Thank you. Alex, did you want to speak as well, or this is what?
You could say something.
Okay, I'll just, before I open the floor to questions, I just want to clarify something that George raised, and yourself, Ben. I don't believe it is right to say there's been a wall of silence. I met George on site soon after that roadside meeting. But during an emergency like this, clarity of communication is absolutely important. And I've relied on our comms team to put out the one source of truth pretty well every day, Luke, saying exactly what the situation is throughout the district, but the key points including number 4 road bridge washout. And the team at council know more than I do about where the engineering is up to, what the traffic management is, and all that sort of thing. So there was little point in me jumping in. I have heard your calls for another residents meeting, and that is looking like happening on Friday, yet to be confirmed. Luke is just working through some of those details. So we'll have a meeting, because I agree there does need to be some stronger explanation about what the situation is and how we're going about fixing that. So that will happen soon, later this week, hopefully, and give you a chance to be heard. Okay. So are there any other questions that, yeah, Councillor Wickers.
Really appreciate what you guys are doing up Number 4 Road. I drove up there. The work that you've been in clearing those slips and grading the road. The comments from some of the other residents is it hasn't been graded that well for a long time. So I really appreciate that. Without the council being able to get stuff up there, your help and has been great. And for just fronting this and sticking up for the residents on Number 4 Road, really appreciate that. And that we'll keep battling for you.
Councillor Crawford.
Also, Grant and I drove up there not long after the letterbox drops, just from the food bank, and anybody else that might need assistance, we put flyers in the boxes, and we visit the lady at the dog kennel just to see how she was doing. So just to reassure you, even though amongst all the different social media platforms, especially you, George, they're putting on that, we have been mindful. For me personally, I just agree with the mayor that, we need to get the right source of information so everybody, because there is, a lot of conflict and opinions out there. And so hopefully, this week and on Friday, there might be some clarity that everybody hears it from the same source, and then we can go together, forward in a positive manner. So just to reassure you again, you guys have really been on our minds, for sure.
Councillor Sol.
Just a little bit of clarity for me. One is I was really delighted. My first note was about AEDs, and you say you've got 2 personally yourselves. And that sort of thing, is there somewhere else, or is there a further need, do you feel, somewhere up the road for those, or are you going to make sure that your community up there have, know and that they're available? That would be one. And the other one, I'd just like a bit more clarity, maybe on the communications problems there. It's not something that council really can deal with much, but I guess we can still advocate on the communications issue. I'd just like to understand it a little more about the side of getting Wi-Fi, whatever, and cellular connection.
Yeah. So to your first question around AEDs, yes, we've got 2. One at Mum and Dad's place, one at mine. Julie's actually got one in her ticket now, which is quite reassuring. We also, like in this last event, the top of Number 4 Road was cut off from the middle section of Number 4 Road with slips. And George got the tractor. I was actually in Waiho Bay at the time. George went up to my place, grabbed the tractor, and spent 2 hours to get enough access to get a vehicle through. So we have potential to be cut off from the rest of Number 4 Road as well, with the gorges that we've got. So, we can all end up quite isolated. And so I don't know whether what or how we come to having something available there that's perhaps out on the road further, or whether we have to structure and put together some community communication around that. I'm not sure how that looks. But if there was, with a civil engagement, with an emergency engagement, maybe there could be some help that could be directed from someone else that's got better ideas around it than us farmers at the end of the road having to organise it. Read the communication. I know that, as what you've said, it's not a council issue, but you're a great advocacy team for us you might have somebody that can push the buttons, because we've had people who have contacted Spark, because it's all, the internet's all connected back to that Spark tower. And for the first 2 or 3 days, they were telling them that it was problems with their modems and all sorts of carry on, instead of actually, they didn't even know. They didn't know that they'd completely lost a cell tower. So, and I don't know who owns I presume it's Chorus that owns whether it is Chorus that owns the cable network that goes to it or not, but, you know, I mean, it's been 10 days now that that's been out and there's been not a thing done about it.
Just supplementary then. So, I mean, you touched on that and maybe it's not just a question to, do you feel that there could be an advantage if we were able to, I mean, to me, an AED is a relatively cheap item these days. If there was one placed somewhere else further up the road. You know, I understand your issues about these things can happen and it may never be used, but it may be needed so badly one day. Is there a spot where it could be perhaps looked at? And I guess then I throw it at council as to whether we're able to assist you in having one.
Yeah, there'd be many spots that we could have something, you know, there's something on the side of someone's packer, Steve McManaway's, somewhere like that, that's easy access from the road. That would be great. So someone could probably follow that up. Yeah, AEDs you can get them for about $2,500 to $3,000 for good AEDs, and there's some that are better to use than others that actually.
One could go at mum and dad's house where the cameras are, security cameras.
Yeah, we can put one available on a roadside at home, but yeah, there are AEDs that actually have instructions and they tell you how to do CPR versus some that don't. But that would be of great help. And yeah.
Councillor Joyce. Well, we do know that the internet has been received because I see all the Facebook posts about it. Grant, did I? Yeah.
Some people have got started, some people have not. So Tim King, for example, he does not have internet. So he probably has enough to do a post eventually, but it's not enough to work with it.
Yeah.
I have intermittent cell phone service at my house, but not enough to do an emergency.
Yeah. Councillor Daly.
George, I just want to ask you to tell us a bit more about your thoughts on Number 5 Road, the trip up from the bottom to the top, and if that does go as it is a distinct possibility, are there other alternative accesses that could be brought into action that you're aware of?
So yeah, my primary concern with Number 5 Road is probably firstly would be at the bridge that washed out, because the bridge is still in the river. And if we get another rain event, which is forecast, that river is going to wash. When it washes, it hits the bridge and it does this. And it's already washed both banks down, which is risking the abutment that they're trying to look at doing the engineering on. And it's also risking access to the private road, which is already caved away. Some of the councillors have seen photos I've seen. There's already a cliff that's formed on the edge of the private road. But the private road has been renowned for slips in the past all the way up it. And there's one in particular that happened about 12 years ago and it hasn't been repaired. I'm losing what you asked me, sorry.
Is there a backup if that road fails?
There is only one backup route that I'm aware of. It's through private land. It involves another private landowner than you guys have currently dealt with. We haven't approached him. It's a logging road that was formed in 1992 and it was half of it was upgraded around about 2014 probably by this other landowner. And it still essentially goes out to Manaweka Road, but that could be something that could be looked at. If this bridge is not certain, I definitely think you guys should be forming that private road, that logging road, if we can't be certain when this bridge is going to be finished, because we're at risk of only getting out the private road that we're on now. And if we lose that, we don't have a bridge. You could be looking at 3 weeks to develop that logging road to be passable. So we've got another delay.
Okay, Councillor Crawford. Okay.
Hey, just going back to the emergency side. So one thing that through St John's and that they have a thing called the Good Sam. So somebody can be a responder if they have first aid training, and also they now with certain people give them portable defibs you carry on your vehicle. It's a one-time use thing. So just something to look into. The other thing I was suggesting is working with St John's to see any way they can assist in the sense of why you guys are in this, accessibility issue, whether there's something they could, produce there that if they do need to get called there. I know for our emergency, I've been hesitant about using that road because I'm not sure whether it's cleared to be used, but definitely there you can ferry St John's, all that stuff up there too. So I too been, talking to the chief there, being ex-fireman myself. So just be reassured, also I know the helicopter is their method of being deployment there at this stage, but you're right, it's whether it's it's available. But anyway, I just thought, just suggest that that's something you guys can be proactive to, suggesting reaching out St John's and I can help you with that. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Crawford. I think I'll round things out there. I just want to reassure you, Alex, Ben and George, that you are at the top of our priority and top of our minds. I forwarded all your emails, George, with suggestions and proposals to staff so that they can consider those in the mix. There's a lot to consider, lots of options and variables. And I look forward to meeting some or all of you in the next few days, and you'll hear about when that meeting is soon. So with that, thank you for coming to speak to us. Please rest assured you are our highest priority. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks, guys.
So we'll move to the next order of business, which is the community boards for a seat, page 8. So minutes of the Spooky Community Board meeting held on the 15th of December 2022. Call for a mover and seconder to receive those, please. Councillor Sol, Councillor Murray Benge. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Minutes of the council meeting on 8th of December. I will move to receive those. Seconded, Councillor Granger. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Minutes of the council meeting held on the 14th of December. I will go and move those. Seconded, Councillor Scrimger. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Minutes of the council meeting held on 22nd of December. I'll move those. Seconded, Councillor Joyce. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Now move to page 249, item 10.1, the Committees for Local Democracy due diligence for membership. I see Rachel's just come to the front there. So would you like to speak to that one?
Thank you, Mayor James. I'm actually going to take the report as read. It's reasonably straightforward. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Councillor Coxhead.
Thanks, Rachel. So with Councils for Local Democracy, I think there was a no missing. They're not taking any new memberships. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So did you get us? I presume you talked to whoever was running the show. So what are they doing? Do we know what they are doing?
So it's all outlined in the report, Councillor Coxhead. So what that report basically says is, although Communities for Local Democracy is not accepting new memberships as it was some 18 months ago, it is now instead focusing on progressing the draft mayoral declaration, which is what you considered at the meeting before Christmas.
Sorry, my question should have been, how do we indicate our support to this?
So we already have, again, as the report says, the last meeting we had before Christmas, Council resolved to endorse the Mayor's support for the draft mayoral declaration. My understanding is the Mayor did go back to to Mayor Helen
It's
Warboys
done that.
to indicate a couple of grammatical errors with the declaration. It has since been recirculated or is in the process of being recirculated. And as far as I'm aware, the Mayor's intention, consistent with council resolution before Christmas, is to sign that declaration.
So am I to assume that we will be getting regular updates from them, or do we need to make further inquiry on that?
Shall I just
Yes.
answer that? So,
Yeah,
so
thank you.
it seems to me that the declaration has overtaken C4LD as the primary request for three waters reform changes. I haven't seen the updated version of the declaration coming out. They were waiting for an opportune moment to announce that, no doubt with media fanfare. I suspect during a state of emergency in Auckland is probably not the time they want to do that. It'll probably end up on 2 inches on page 13 if they did that now. So no doubt they're waiting for that for a better time, and then it will be announced with fanfare. But I haven't seen the final version, as I said.
Thank you.
Councillor Murray-Benj.
As I read it, sir, I thought that quite clearly they saw that it was really important to make sure that all political parties that might be in the election coming up were well versed on the needs for local government. And I felt that the report was a good one. And I'm just pleased that we have actually joined. And I think it gives you an opportunity to stay close to other mayors. And I agree with you. Now's not quite the time, but hopefully the rain won't be too great this weekend because I think we've had enough.
I certainly agree with you there. Councillor Granger. Well, any other questions before I accept that?
I would just suggest that things are changing. We don't know what the government's changes are going to be. So rather than just, receiving the report's obviously part of it, but I would actually let it lay on the table for a month and see where the government's going, because we don't know. They're talking about changes to various things and they'll come out shortly. So happy to go with the mayoral declaration. I no doubt you'll circulate it once you actually see it. But I don't think we should close this off. I think we should put this on hold for a month.
Well, the resolution recommendation is to receive Rachel's report.
Yeah,
so
I'm fine.
I think there's much point leaving that.
Well, I was going to move an amendment to add a clause saying that, and that the matter be left.
I think as developed, there could be future debate and resolutions forthcoming, but I don't think we need to resolve to keep an eye on it. I think that's kind of a
I just
given.
want it to come back in a month. I don't want it to be keep an eye on it.
Well, I think we need to address that when it comes. I don't think there's no point saying, well, look at it again in a month if nothing's happened, for example.
Well, I think they're also saying happening in a month because the government's announced it's going to happen in a month.
Councillor Thwaites. I do now. Mover to receive the report, Councillor Granger, seconded Councillor Thwaites. Was there any discussion? No, all those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. We'll move on to page 251 and the Pukekohe Coastal Protection Rate. And I'll just, as the people at the front are getting ready, I'm going to ask John Hoag, our CEO, to introduce a new member of staff.
Morning, councillors. Azura Ali is our new Chief Financial Officer. I'll let her introduce herself. Chief Financial Officer, the money holder.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councillors, and lovely to join the team here. Obviously, we are introducing a report to reset the council's rates for Pukekohe coastal rate. There was a report tabled on the 8th of December, and I'm aware that that's since progressed into, we've had the advertisement placed on the 21st of December, and so now it's our opportunity to just reset this as per the recommendation. Happy to take any questions on that. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Ms. Ali? Councillor Scrimger.
Yes. Could I just clarify, please, in regard to recommendation number 5, which speaks of the refunding of excess. So when the rates reset, and there'll be another claim for the second half of the year, and then the balance over that is what will be refunded. Is that correct?
Yes, so there'll be a full refund and then they repay the invoice that will be issued.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
I'm happy to move then.
Councillor, I think Councillor Daly just got in there. Councillor Daly, you got a question?
I was about to move as well.
Ooh, tie break. Moved Councillor Daly, seconded Councillor Scrimger. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Now we move to page 254. The right of way and right to convey water, sewage, I'll say etc. Is Peter around to talk to this one? Gary's here. Thank you, Councillor Murray Bench, duly noted. Are there any questions for Gary Ellis? Councillor Granger.
It's not particularly clear on the little map that we've got, but it appears that the current cycleway infringes on the Goldstone property at the top pointy corner.
This has been a lengthy process from when we sought to acquire the accretion from the slip and negotiated between the council and Mr. Goldstone. And so there's a right of way over the Goldstone, what will become the Goldstone property, but that accesses where the cycleway is and also accesses Esplanade Reserve down the bottom. The easement also includes rights for example, Powerco have got a main cable through there. So it protects our access, public access, but also the services access. But as I said, it's been, it took quite a while to get to the final form that the land parcels went into and then what the easements look like.
So we have an easement across that little corner, the same as he's got an easement across the.
Yeah. So here's the easement across some of our land. It was a mutually beneficial agreement.
There's no further questions. I've got a mover from option A from Councillor Murray Bench. Is there a seconder for the recommendations? Councillor Granger. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Moving to page 262, the Tourism Bay of Plenty Annual Report and Letter of Expectation. And I can see Jodie Rickard just moving to talk to us about that. Thank you, Jodie.
Morning, everyone. I think that this report we can take as read. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have on it.
Any questions? I don't see any. Oh. Moved Councillor Sol. I was going to second it. So I was going to move actually, but I'll second it. So are there any, is there any debate?
Yes, I'd like to speak to it.
Councillor Mowbridge.
Great to have walkways and cycleways promotion as a key visitor attraction, but I think what our visitors would like is decent roads to get here. And if Tourism Bay of Plenty can do anything to help that, would be quite worthwhile.
I agree. Probably best left to Waka Kotahi though, but I agree with that. We could also do with better weather, but that is not in our control either, I'm afraid. So I think it's been moved and seconded. Any more speakers? Councillor Henry.
I'd just like to acknowledge Tourism Bay of Plenty and their work that they have done in the northern part of this district. The people from the north have been complaining quite often over this table about the lack of Tourism Bay of Plenty's presence in that area of our rohi. And I have to say that I've been very pleased with the work that they've done and involved, I think it's 17 groups in terms of carbon reducing practice in their businesses, and it has been very successful. So well done for them coming out our way, and other initiatives that they've taken that have been working in and with the communities that they are supporting.
Councillor Daly.
Yeah, I'd like to speak in support as well of the statement of intent, but I'd also like to say every time I look at these objectives or plans, statements of intent regarding our region, I always think, is that it? Surely there's more to the Bay of Plenty than this. Where's all the other visitor attractions? And I think maybe council might have a bit more of a role to play in maybe developing, more attractions. Like, I know we've got a museum, but bigger, better, more artwork. I know we do a really good job on reserves and access to the coast and mountains, but you look at other areas and they seem to have a list of attractions a mile long. You get a leaflet that's just jam-packed with activities, but maybe it's about businesses stepping up and taking people out to show them the natural beauty. But anyway, that's all.
Thank you. With that, right to reply, Councillor Sowell.
Yes, thank you, sir. Won't take long. Basically, I endorse what Councillor Anne Henry has said, etc., and actually Grant Daly. And I think the biggest thing over the years that I've been coming into council meetings, etc., and workshops, councillors have really had this sticking in their gullet about funding TBOC and so on. And we have seen such an improvement, and I feel it's really encouraging, and I look forward to us developing a greater relationship along the lines maybe also that Grant's saying, making the cake bigger for everybody. That's it, sir. I endorse the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sowell. So there's I'll now put the motion, put the recommendations. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you, Jody. Moving to page 304, it's the Mayor's report to Council. Were there any questions that anyone would like to ask of me? Councillor Maybench.
I think you certainly are serving the community well with all the attendance that you are making. I presume, sir, that you will include issues that are of concern to you in any future, anything that you feel is important, you'll bring back to us as a council.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's my first two reports have been fairly brief because we've not had a lot of council business to really attend to. But yes, if there's something that is top of my mind, I'll certainly bring that to your attention.
For example, sir, the Port of Tauranga and the need for change there, the extra berths that they require.
But I am conscious this is not a soapbox opportunity, but I will report that anything that's important to our district, of course. Thank you. Okay, in which case I'll move the recommendation. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Henry. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Now moving to item 11, information for receipt and the CEO's extraordinary report, page 307. John, did you want to say anything?
Any questions, Mr. Mayor?
Any questions? Councillor Daly.
Look, I don't want to appear flippant, but did you really make Audit New Zealand on 30th of December?
30th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that might be a typo.
Not a typo.
Any other questions? Okay, with that typo noted. Oh, apparently we don't need to move it, but okay. We'll note the typo nevertheless. So we'll now go to the confidential section. So can I have a mover and seconder to exclude the public, please? Councillor Crawford, Councillor Henry, all those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. And we'll just take a moment or two just to prepare the room and the live stream. Thank you.